Hey kids, Vist and Fly here, hope you're well. Now, it's exactly 2 years since I bought my lovely 899 Panigale. Well, actually it's a little bit more than 2 years. I'm about a month overdue with this review because I've just had the service done on the bike. I want to give you all the costs for this year. So in this video, what I'm going to do is tell you what I've done on the bike this year, what I've done to the bike, and how much it's cost me. So if you're interested in the Ducati Panigale 899, you're going to want to watch this video. Stay tuned. So what have I done on the bike this year? Well, in short, not a lot. It's one of these sort of unintended consequences of ramping up my YouTube activities this year that means I don't actually get to ride my own bikes as much as I'd like to. So this year I've only done 716 miles on this bike in total, which is, to my mind, a very small number. Do bear in mind I have, I'm lucky enough to have 3 other motorbikes myself, plus I've got 3 cars that I drive, and I do borrow other motorbikes as well. So I have to divide my time between them, a great problem to have, but it does mean I haven't ridden this bike as much as I would have liked to. In fact, the only rides I've done on this bike this year have been kind of short B-road blats on a summer's evening around the local roads that I very much enjoy, but it's not really using the bike maybe to its best ability. But there we go, that's been the situation this year. I aim to put that right next year. Okay, so much for that then. What have I actually done to the bike this year in terms of modifications? So what modifications have I made to the bike this year? Well, again, in short, not an awful lot. I've got the bike to the stage really over the last couple of years where I've got really all the sort of tasteful mods that I like on the bike. So when I bought the bike initially, I had some things like the Termi pipes and things like the Ducati Performance rear indicator lights and so on fitted. So those sort of things are here, as are the lovely brake reservoirs that I've got fitted. So they were put on when I bought the bike from the dealer. The other mods that I've done have mainly been some little bits of carbon that I've added, things like the dash surround and things like the hugger and the suspension cover, things like that. Just little tasteful mods. I don't like bikes that are too blinged up. So I think I've got this to a point where really it's got all the mods that I want on it, and I'm probably not going to do any more. The only thing that I've done this year is a hidden one, and that is fit the heat shield. One of the issues with all Panigales is that they get very hot when you ride them. So what I've done a video about this, I'll put a link at the end. I've fitted a heat shield kit underneath the seat all around the engine just to stop some of that heat getting to me as the rider, and so far I've been very happy with that. So that's been the main mod. And I suppose the best mod of all that I've done on the bike, which was also coincidentally the cheapest and another hidden one, was actually the throttle spacer mod, so-called. It's a little piece of plastic, again I did a video on this and I'll put a link below. It's a little piece of plastic that fits within the throttle housing that just stops the bike being so on-off when you're going at slow speeds. It makes it much smoother to ride at slow speeds through town. So that's been a fantastic modification, really pleased with that. What else? Well, the only other thing that I've done or played with this year on the bike isn't so much a modification, but just a change of setting. These sports bikes have all sorts of settings and configuration changes you can make. And this particular bike has Ducati engine braking control, which is basically just decides how much engine braking you have when you roll off the throttle. I've backed that right off this year. As the bike comes as standard, it's got a fair amount of braking control built in, so as you back off the throttle, the bike slows down a lot, which is probably ideal for track days and things, but for normal road riding, not necessarily brilliant. So been playing with the engine braking control, back that off, so now when I roll off the throttle, the bike tends to roll a bit more, and again, that's made it just so much easier to ride day to day on normal roads. So that was a fantastic change. And again, it was free of charge, so even better. All right, so much for the mods. I said I'd mention how much the bike has cost me. Let's go through the cost of ownership for this year. So as usual, I've kept copious notes on how much I've spent on the bike this year. So I've got the notes here to go through. So road tax, because it's over 600cc, that comes to £7.52 a month or £924 a year. Vehicle excise duty, I should call that, but we'll call it road tax. Insurance, very difficult to tell you about insurance because, as I've mentioned before, I have my 4 bikes that I own on one multi-bike policy, for which I pay £820.99 a year. So if I just divide that straight by 4, that gives me an insurance cost of £205 a year, which, as I say, it's difficult to tell whether that's an accurate cost or not because obviously it's with other bikes on that policy. But and of course it's specific to my particular situation. I keep the bike here in a locked garage. I've got an alarm on the bike. I've got a tracker on the bike. I live in a relatively nice area. I've got, 6 years no claims bonus, things like that. So depending on your situation, of course, your insurance will be different. But I don't think £205 for a bike of this type of performance is too bad per year. Servicing-wise, the bike is, as I say, 2 years old now, so it's the last of its servicing during its warranty period. So I took it to Ducati for its service just to make sure I got the stamps in the book while it was in warranty. And I had that done last week, and that came to £276.70, which to me sounded quite expensive. So next year what I'll do is I'll take the bike to my friend Nigel up the road in Chesham. He's my independent bike mechanic, and I'll get him to do the servicing. I think I can get that cost right down. It is worth noting though, and this was an interesting comment that the guys at Ducati said to me, that when I went and paid the bill and they stamped the book up, they said that it was good that I had the book fully stamped, because they said even though it is out of warranty now, if I had a big problem with the bike, Ducati apparently have a very good system whereby if you have a big problem, they do make these sort of goodwill gestures and potentially would help you out if you had a big issue. So, you know, don't quote me on that. Well, you can try and quote me on that if you like, but that's what they said. It's a bit of an odd comment for them to make, actually. I wonder why they said that. But anyway, it's an interesting point. If you have got your book all stamped up Ducati, you might stand better stead if you have a problem in the future and you go to Ducati looking for a goodwill gesture. So that was interesting. Then the only other cost this year, I haven't put any new tyres on it this year because I haven't done much mileage. The only other cost was the subscription for the tracker. I use a bike track tracker on this. Great service, £99 per year for that. So excluding petrol, and I haven't taken into account any depreciation. That only matters, of course, if you sell the bike. I have no intentions of selling this bike probably ever, providing it keeps running okay. When you add that lot up, it comes to £670.94 per annum, excluding petrol, or £55.91 a month to run. Now, when I did this calculation last year, it came to £87 a month, and this year it's £55 a month. So last year there were some additional modifications and so on that I did, which... Now I just watched that bit back, and you may have noticed my sound disappeared. Sorry, my mic battery ran out mid-flow there. So I basically said all I wanted to say. So yeah, so that was the cost of ownership. So I guess the only thing then left to talk about is, what do I think of the bike now? Is she a keeper long term? Well, I think I've probably answered that already. Okay, so what do you think of the continuity on this video? Jacket or not? I don't know. It's cold in here. I can't make up my mind. Anyway, so what do I think of the bike? Is she a long-term keeper? Well, as I say, I've sort of answered that already. She absolutely is. I absolutely love the Panigale. I still think it's the best-looking bike ever made. It's had a few revisions since this one. The 1299 looks slightly different at the front. The new V4 looks quite different at the front, but they still look like Panigales and they still look beautiful to me. So I just love the ownership thing about, you know, when you open the garage door, you see it sitting there and you think, oh, that's my bike. It's absolutely lovely. So I've got to make a huge effort to do more miles on it this coming year, of course, because it doesn't deserve to just be sat here and not be ridden. So I'm going to do more of that. In terms of other things on the bike, I suppose it's worth just mentioning, if you've been following me with this bike over the last couple of years, you may remember I had an issue with the chain rusting early on when I bought the bike. About 2 weeks after I bought the bike, I had rust on the chain and I got it replaced under warranty. Well, the good news is I had no more issues with the chain. That's absolutely fine. No rust there. That worked a treat. The only other thing that I may do with her is maybe change the foot pegs. These are a little bit slippery, so that might happen this year. Don't know. But otherwise, yeah, I shall be keeping her. I absolutely love the bike. And I suppose the other thing that you know, longer term I've come to realise about the bike, something that I was afraid of when I bought it, was the whole comfort thing. I thought that I was going to be bent double and it'd be really uncomfortable, and to begin with it was quite uncomfortable, but you quickly get used to that after a couple of weeks of riding it. And it's got to the point now that I may not ride this as much as my other bikes, but when I do jump onto it, there's absolutely no issue with comfort at all. So something again this coming year, what I want to do is try some longer rides, you know, some few hundred miles at a go, and just see how I get on with that sort of thing. So hopefully that's something I can do in the summer. And I'd love to make more videos on this bike because it is, you know, undeniably, to my eyes at least, a thing of beauty. All right, so there we go. Yes, she's definitely a keeper. I have no plans to get rid of her. So I hope that's been of some interest to you. Look forward to speaking to you next time. Till then, this has been the Mr. Them Fly. Cheerio.